Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Advantech webinar. I hope everyone is doing well and remain healthy. Okay, thank you for joining us today. This is your speaker, Darren Teo from Advantech Singapore. Today's webinar topics will be the perfect storage and memory solution for embedded applications. All right, if you have any questions, you can leave the message at the chat box and we will answer your question during the Q&A sections in the end. Okay, our product manager and other technical colleague also on the line. So feel free to ask questions, be it for sales or technicals area. Okay, the webinar will be around 40 minutes plus 10-15 minutes of Q&A sections. In the beginning, I will introduce you Advantech SQFlash and SQRAM and some of the key features. Then I will also share with you how Advantech conduct our QC and reliability testing, and followed by our product selections and offering. Then before I ended with the Q&A, I will also show you some of our success story that we deploy all over the world. Okay, to address the market needs for IoT applications, Advantech develops a number of series of the integrated IoT solutions and services that accelerate the IoT value chain and ecosystem. As you can see here under the embedded IoT design-in services, we actually customize customer BIOS, OS, API, career boards, thermal simulations, and also the embedded modules, particularly the flash and memory solution that I want to share with you today. Advantech manufacture industrial-grade SSD and memory solution for quite a number of applications, as you can see here, which can actually run for 24/7 operation and supported wide temperature up to 85 degrees Celsius. As far as we know, they are being deployed in various vertical markets such as gaming, data center, machine automation, transportation, aerospace, and even the medical sector as well. Besides that, we also have it in many structures of the flash memory cell technology, such as 3D NAND, MLC, Ultra MLC, and SLC. Okay, 3D NAND usually is the common one. It's a popular nowadays because of the cost effective, and it can hold the larger in capacity as well. While MLC, Ultra MLC, and SLC are more emphasized on the endurance and reliability. And besides that, we have quite a number of form factor flash drive also. As you can see here, we have M.2, mSATA, 2.5-inch DOM, CFast, even the SD card and micro SD card as well. So in the next slide, I will share a little bit more on the 3D NAND technology, just in case some of you may not familiar with it. Okay, what is 3D NAND? I'm sure many of you here also heard about the 3D NAND flash drive. It became very popular in the recent year. Basically, 3D NAND technology breaks the limitations of the 2D processes by vertically stacking. So by stacking more and more layers, 3D NAND can actually achieve a better density of the larger density of the flash drive, meaning that you can have a larger storage capacity in the same space. So what are the benefits of having the 3D NANDs? 3D NAND offer higher capacity in a smaller physical space compared to 2D NAND technologies. And furthermore, 3D NAND can also lower the cost per gigabyte, improve the electrical use, and also reduce our power consumption. Also boost reliability and provide higher data write performance. With the above that I just mentioned, 3D NAND can actually achieve a far greater cost saving in the long run. Heading to 3D NAND for industrial now, as you can see the evolutions of 2D NAND to 3D NAND technologies. These are the flash memory manufacturer worldwide. You can see Samsung, Toshiba, all the familiar faces. And in fact, some of them are focusing mainly on the 3D NANDs now, as the market demand surged rapidly in the recent year. As you can see, since the end of last year, they are concentrating on 3D NANDs more than the traditional 2D NANDs. Okay, next I will show you a brief comparison between the industrial and SSD and the consumer SSD to give you a brief idea on where our SSD position itself in the market. Okay, generally, consumer SSD focus more on TLC due to the cheapest cost. TLC is also not meant for embedded application due to the limited write cycle. Longevity also very important for our long-term project design. A particular consumer SSD model won't last you for long, won't supply you for long, and you may need to go through a very frequent requalifications process. Furthermore, the consumer application usually do not factor in the extended temperature, since this is not their targeted market. And whereas for industrial SSD, the temperature tolerance is up to 85 degrees Celsius. In fact, our internal lab thermal cycling test is at -45 to 90 degrees Celsius, which is 5 Celsius more on what you see in our data sheet. Then embedded applications for long operating hours, you can run for 24/7, but the consumer SSD are not meant for that. And furthermore, consumer SSD are targeted mainly for storage purposes only, while industrial SSD provides embedded utility. For example, the lifetime monitoring, secure ID, flash lock, and emergency erase, which the details I will elaborate that in the later part. Moreover, the data integrity is also very crucial for the embedded applications. During the unexpected power failure situations, data writing may not be able to complete, and it will create read-write errors, especially on the mission critical environment, for instance, the aerospace industry or in-vehicle applications. And finally, the data encryptions is more often used in embedded applications, but not so common seen in the consumer SSD. So you can see the price range here for our SSD compared to the consumer SSD. Next slide, I will introduce our SSD key features. Power failure is very common cause of the system crash, and the root cause is always recognized as data loss. Advantech SQFlash is therefore designed with the most advanced and complete multi-stage power failure protections that ensure that zero data loss under any unforeseen circumstances. It consists of 4 main elements in these features. As you can see from the pyramid here, we have 4 main elements here. First, it has a built-in voltage stabilizer to ensure that the SSD internally always deliver a stable power supply to the DDR chips and the flash IC, even when the power supply is not stable. When using flash product, unavoidable condition may occur, such as high-low temperature, unstable voltage, and very weak power supply, which may affect the reliability of the data. So if the power suddenly goes up or go down very sharply when the machine is still operating, or the voltage is lower or higher than the specs, then the processing data and information could be disappear. Here is when power failure savers comes in which always ensure the data integrity in the SSD flash IC. Thirdly, the flash manager, to preserve data integrity in the event of unexpected power loss. Several new cache mechanisms such as smart flash and cache off has been introduced in our SQFlash latest controller to better manage the power loss situations, and hence it ensures that the valid data are being stored in the flash IC. And finally, the power drop catcher. It handles glitches from voltage drop and ensure a very smooth and reliable startup power sequence. In some situations, right, the power supply could drop very sharply in the short period of time. Although you may not realize that the power supply might recover within milliseconds, but for low power flash storage, like example, the CFast and the mSATA, it could cause the device to freeze up and unable to boot up or perform the read-write function correctly. So our SQFlash has a power reset IC command to prevent this kind of sudden power drop situations, and also to retain our SSD controller functionality. All right. Besides that, we also use the tantalum capacitor, as you can see here, for hardware power failure protections. So how does it works? When the power is supplied, right, it will charge the tantalum capacitors behind. So upon when the power suddenly goes off, the capacitor will discharge to supply the power to the SSD controller and DRAM cache and also the NAND flash temporarily for a short period of time to actually allow the graceful power down so that all the existing data can be committed to the NAND flash. So in such situations, you won't find the data loss if the capacitors, if the tantalum capacitor able to discharge the power to our controller cache and also the NAND flash. Okay, next I will share with you a more interesting features, the SQFlash utilities. Data security used to protect customer asset is a very crucial part of nowadays business-to-business confidentiality. To actually complement the data security protections on our storage devices, Advantech SQFlash has introduced convenience and highly secure solutions for read-write protections, host and device authentications, and also the emergency erase functions. Okay, I will elaborate further on how each of them works in the following slides. The first utilities, storage devices must be read-only with no data or parameters that can be modified to ensure that the data is always valid and safe. For data write protections, user need to only remove the jumper, as you can see the jumper here on board the GPIO. So for SSD with the hardware limitation, that means for SSD that without this jumper or the GPIO, a software method for write protections was also developed by our software team in our headquarters. You can then perform write protections through the SQFlash software utility as well. The second utilities, when flash valve is enabled, all the data in the SQFlash cannot be accessed to prevent data from being stolen. However, you must take note that if you want to use a flash valve, it is not recommended for the OS drive because flash valve has a very comprehensive read-write disable function for the SSD. So if the flash valve is executed on the OS drive, then end up the system may not be able to boot up because all the read-write function has been disabled once you enable it. Okay, the third utilities, Security ID also helps user to add a security encryption lock to a specific application software to achieve the confidential and authority management. The working principle is that the security ID key is built in the application software, act like a security lock, and then you can verify it via our SQFlash utilities. Our HQ also provided the sample code for your software integrations. Okay, so you don't have to spend time on that. So our fourth utility, Flash Lock. So what exactly is OPA? OPA was in fact developed by the Trusted Computing Group. We call it TCG, and it is a set of security specification used for applying hardware-based encryption to the storage devices. The flash lock function is based on TCG OPA specifications used to perform system and SSD authorization. The main idea behind is you enter into the Shadow Master boot records simulation space, and then you use the manufacturer secure ID, MSID for pre-boot authentications. So after the system and SSD authorizations has been synced and encrypted, then the SSD therefore cannot be used on other systems. To prevent the data from being stolen or your data drive suffer from unauthorized access. The fifth utility, emergency erase. This is very common used in the military sector. User can actually pull out a wire via the GPIO. You pull out a wire from the GPIO, and then you can short the GPIO pin header using the wire or button that you created. Once you short the GPIO, right, all the data in the SSD shall be erased quickly and securely during any emergency situations. Okay, all the data will be gone once you press it. Okay, what else we have? Advantech SQFlash by default also bundle in antivirus function from McAfee, which is free and offer you an additional layers of system protections from viruses and malware attack. And on the other hand, also helps you to build a more secure systems with the minimum cost and effort. One of the SQFlash utility is to provide you an innovative and convenient tool to actually read and obtaining the SSD health status. To help user quickly to understand the SSD condition, we have provided the 10 key parameters listed in the information columns here. As you can see, your firmware, your serial number, power on hours, temperature, lifetime predictions, and so on. So with this information, right, you can actually understand your SSD conditions better, and you can also activate any contingency plan or measurement when necessary. You can also optimize your risk assessment and spare part inventory management to make your system truly reliable. Well, some of you might be curious why we don't use MTBF as a reliability measurement. Because MTBF is a popular measurement for hard disk HDD, but not that relevant for the SSD. The main reason is because SSD has no internal moving parts. Instead, we use TBW. We call it terabyte return for better accuracy, and in fact, not many SSD manufacturers publish the TBW informations on their data sheets. So basically, TBW is a reference to the accumulative numbers of terabyte you can write over the lifespan of your SSD. So how do we get the TBW figures? TBW is equal to NAND endurance. Endurance is based on the NAND type of NAND flash that you are using. For example, SLC, Ultra MLC, MLC, or TLC. times the SSD capacity divided the write amplification factor. So the formula for the write amplification factor is equal to lifetime write to the flash and divided by lifetime write to the host. This is where you get the formula here. And then with this, we will display the lifetime predictions here in your SSD lifetime predictions. Okay, this is the last utility. For SSD health status and lifespan monitoring, as I just mentioned in my earlier slide, user may have additional requirement where you can have one-to-many or many-to-one remote monitoring requirement. In order to meet the criteria, we have the WISE-PaaS DeviceOn remote management and monitoring platform with the remote SSD monitoring function. Okay, this platform is actually free and consists of two major components, a server-side system, or we call it the device manager, or a device management client agent. Okay, you can use the platform to remotely monitor the SSD current operating status and the remaining lifespan in real time, either from your PC, laptop, tablet, or even smartphone via our via our WISE-PaaS DeviceOn webpage. To allow user to understand the SSD status at a glance, the WISE-PaaS DeviceOn platform also features a built-in dashboard, as you can see here. So you can check the live remaining here, ECC count, your device models, average erase, power on time, and so on and so forth. You can also actually customize the dashboard that you want to see based on your preference. Okay, so for those of you that are interested in our WISE-PaaS DeviceOn, you can actually scan the QR code here to actually go in and read further on others features and informations. Okay, next I will share with you our SQRAM memory solutions. Okay, Advantech SQFlash offer a comprehensive range of products, including the unbuffered DIMM, SO-DIMM, ECC DIMM, server and ruggedized DIMM with the speed from DDR2, DDR3 to DDR4. This one is pretty standard in the market, the form factors, and the type of the speed is also quite common. So why choose SQRAM for your embedded or IoT application? Firstly, SQRAM has a wider temperature support up to 85 degrees Celsius with an optional industrial heatsink supported as well. It also bundled with SQRAM Manager 2.0. This is a smart RAM management software utilities where you can monitor dynamic real-time temperature, check some memory specifications, and it is also able to run in the background for dynamic monitoring. In addition, all SQRAM components shall pass 10G vibration tests, which are the basic industrial grade criteria and specifications. Okay, sorry. Okay. For value-added services, SQRAM actually offer optional ruggedized solutions with extra overfill, side fill for better shock and vibration resistance, and also the conformal coating services as well for water, acid, and corrosion resistance. Earlier, I mentioned about the SQRAM Manager 2.0. It is in fact the smart RAM management software that provides temperature monitoring. So our SQFlash memory modules adopts the EEPROM with thermal sensor to detect operating temperature in the range of -40 to 95 degrees Celsius. So this thermal sensor on our SQRAM actually detect the temperature at 5-second interval to provide you a dynamic temperature monitoring. Furthermore, the SQRAM Manager, as you can see here, you can also detect the temperature of up to 8 slots of the memory modules. And besides monitoring, it will also alert the user when the operating temperature are over 65 degrees Celsius. You can set the threshold, and then it will give you some warning if your temperature is too high. And of course, you can also define or change the temperature threshold according to your application's needs or requirement. Besides monitoring operating temperature, you can also monitor the real-time system speed and memory loading here. I think it's also important to prevent system from overheating and maintain a good system health. As you can see here, you can check the system memory size, type of memory, your speed grade, and your usage. Then from the memory information tab, you can also check the timing table, memory size, speed, voltage, and even the manufacturer information and original IC makers. You can also see here Samsung and Advantech. Next, I will elaborate on how we manage our quality control and reliability testing for our SQFlash and SQRAM product. For your informations, Advantech SQFlash and SQRAM only uses the tier 1 chips from the original IC vendors and pass in-house vibration tests, burn-in tests, 100% screening procedure to always guarantee the industrial grade quality and reliability from the component level to module assembly. So these are the normal procedure. Usually we will go for NAND test first, then chamber burn-in, vibration test. This is the vibration test bed in our factory. And finally, go to the thermal cycling test, which is the high-low temperature test. As for the quality control, as you can see from the picture, Consumer Flash and Consumer RAM usually uses non-branded flash IC. You won't be able to find the brand specification part number and serial number here or here. So in contrast, SQFlash and SQRAM uses branded flash controller and flash IC to ensure our product quality and consistency. You can see the Samsung inking here on our SQRAM together with the specification part number and serial number. Whereas for the SSD, you can see the Fishon flash controller inking here and Toshiba inking on our flash IC. To emphasize again on the longevity commitment, SQFlash and SQRAM offer extended product availability up to 5 years with a very clear roadmap from our HQ quarterly and a very strict BOMs control that can actually save your costs and time from system verifications and requalifications process again and again. So it will be very costly if you need to send your instrument or devices for requalifications within 1 or 2 years time frame. It will be very costly. Okay, here comes the SQFlash product offering from the embedded series to performance series. Okay, as you know, NVMe SSD currently is a very popular storage option now due to the high performance and the high capacity. However, the heat generation from it is very big obstacles to their efficiency and endurance. Okay, so SQFlash 920 series is actually our flagship NVMe SSD under the performance series. It has a whole new heatsink design, as you can see here, very nice one, black color, that provide the outstanding thermal solutions and further enhance the SSD performance under the extreme environments. It also includes a very popular M.2 2280 form factor, this one, using the latest Toshiba 3D NAND flash technology, and can achieve up to 8 terabyte of storage capacity. Additionally, we also offer some other form factors like CFAS, PATA, SD cards, micro SD cards, eMMC, and also the SUS as well. This is the full range of product offering for our SQRAM, which divided into 3 categories here: embedded series, ruggedized series, and server series. Early this year, SQRAM actually released a robust memory solution for military and heavy-duty transportation applications. Besides, can support for wider temperature. This series also features a customizable mounting hole design, as you can see here, 2 holes, so that you can securely fasten the RAM on the motherboard to provide a better shock and vibration resistance. Our SQRAM also undergone very stringent shock certifications according to this military standard 810G. Okay, for more information, you can scan the QR code here to actually understand further on each of the detailed specifications. And finally, I would like to show you some of our application story for your reference. The first one is for transportation sector, using our SQFlash 910S model in a vehicle's surveillance system. Okay, why customer choose SQFlash? SQFlash industrial grade SSD has the durability to withstand extreme operating environments, such as high-low temperatures, very strong vibration, and very high humidities. Okay, besides, we also provide the advanced power failure protections to cope with the potential unstable in-vehicle power supplies to prevent loss of data. We also provide customization services like conformal coating and IC side fill for better shock, vibrations, corrosions, and water resistance. The second successful story is for defense and aerospace industry using our SQR SD3M models. This is for an Airbus flight instrument panels. So why customer choose the SQRAM? Industrial grade SQRAM has the capability to cope with mission critical environments such as very high temperature fluctuations, very strong vibration, very high moisture and humidity, especially in the aerospace industry. Our advanced EEPROM protected design also ensure DRAM operate without impact from other system noise. And it can also enable the read-only EEPROM function to protect against accidental write-overs. Then we also provide customizations for anti-sulfur protection, conformal coating to prevent corrosion, acid, high moisture, and humidity. And same goes to underfill services supported for better shock and vibrations resistance. Okay, this is our third application story for medical sector using our SQFlash 830V models. This is for a blood analyzer equipment. Why customer choose SQFlash? SQFlash has a flash lock utility that I mentioned earlier. So we actually customize on the flash lock to bond with customers' devices, MAC addresses. And we also custom made the SSD firmware to work with customers' blood analyzer software. Customer is also very satisfied that we can fulfill their customizations requirement, and our dedicated support team for prompt and professional technical support. And lastly, Our SSD came with 5 years product longevity and also has a very strict BOM control. As you know, managing the recertification process may consume a very high amount of resources. In this case, not only development time will be wasted, a typical medical cert may easily cost you US dollar 30 to 50K or even more. Our last application story is for the outdoor kiosk using Advantech embedded PC and industrial monitor. Why customer choose Advantech? Okay. Oh, sorry, the product used in our embedded PC is SQFlash 640 models, M-SATA form factors, and our SQRAM SD3i models. The winning factors, the SQFlash and SQRAM has a wider temperature support under the outdoor environment. SQFlash utility also helps improve data security and host-to-device authentications to prevent the data drive suffer from illegal entry or unauthorized access. And lastly, our remote monitoring and preventive features can reduce downtime, increase customer revenues, and of course, boost the customer's overall system satisfaction and confidence to the Advantech hardware. Okay, so that will be the end of my sharing today. Let me recap why you must choose Advantech industrial flash and memory solution for your embedded or IoT applications. Firstly, we have the complete power failure protections and also the SQFlash utilities, which are free, bundled together with your SSD to provide you a more secure, reliable, and intelligent systems. Besides that, we can also provide customization services based on your criteria and offer the value-added services such as the anti-sulfur, extra coating, and underfill services. In addition, SQFlash Utility and SQRAM Manager 2.0 also helps you to monitor the status of your devices so that you can actually react timely to reduce the downtimes and also minimize the overall impact for your project. All right, I think just nice, about close to 40 minutes time. Thank you so much for attending our webinar today. And feel free to shoot a questions if you need any clarifications. Okay. Last but not least, for more information, you can go to our official website, sqflash.advantech.com, or you can scan the QR code here also. Okay.